I don't think having sex weakens your legs.
Well, that's because you were abandoned too by your mom at a daycare as an infant.
You can choose to be a world champion.
They just want to be fuckboys and sleep with as many women as they can. All right. Our next guest is Ahmed Elbiali. He is a professional boxer, 23 wins, 18 wins by knockout, and only one loss. Ahmed is ranked number 9 by the WBC, ranked 10th by the WBA, and ranked 15th by the IBO. And the WBO is a little whack, and they don't even have him in their top 15.
IBF.
The IBF doesn't?
The IBF has me in the
Yeah,
15th.
they have you 15th.
Yes.
Yeah, and the WBO doesn't have you ranked.
No, but the WBO is okay. It's okay.
Yeah. We don't want that belt.
I want all the belts, but it's okay.
In due time. So
Yes, inshallah.
Ahmed is born in Egypt and now currently resides in Miami.
Mm.
So welcome to the show, Ahmed.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and it has been a while. So some of the things that we're going to touch on are probably from conversations that we had, gosh, like 5 years ago.
Like 2018?
2018. Gosh, more than 5. About 5, 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
One of the criteria for me having someone on as a guest is someone who, I guess, I respect the lifestyle that they are living, and someone who I think has values that align similar with me. So there's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, and we'll get into a little bit later. But first off, I want to talk to you about the cultural differences because you are from Egypt. You come from a 2-parent household, right?
Yes.
Come from a 2-parent household growing up, and what you see is the differences from that compared to the cultures that you see in the United States.
In the sense of how?
I guess your parents were both from Egypt, correct?
Yes.
And you were born in Egypt. I guess if you noticed growing up the cultural differences of your parents and how that nuclear family worked versus maybe some of the kids you were in middle school with, because you went to middle school and stuff in the United States. Because I think the 2-parent household in the United States, while some people still valued it, it is often looked at that, single moms can still are very prideful because they think they can do it on their own. There's some cultural things in the United States where men, they're not looked down upon for abandoning their family. Things like that. And I've noticed a lot in some cultures around the world, they will stick together because of the commitments they have made to each other as husband and wife.
Yes. I'm gonna go on record and say my family has had their issues. I could say that publicly. My parents have had their deep issues, and I guess those are things that kind of brought me into the sport of boxing. Some things that you see in the house. But as far as what they did for me and my sister, they absolutely tried to give us every opportunity possible to make the best opportunity of the United States of America, to truly fulfill the American dream of being immigrants from Egypt, where you have a ceiling of opportunity where you jump too high, you're going to hit your head. You can't really think past that. No matter how much money you have, you just can't reach above a certain ceiling. And you probably can, but it's much more difficult in those countries. Whereas here, you can choose to be a world champion boxer. You can choose to be a world champion MMA fighter. If you're genetically gifted and work hard and put time into it, you could be a NBA Finals basketball player, football player. It doesn't matter your last name. It doesn't matter your ethnicity. Of course, a little luck, a little genetics, and hard work helps. But this country and my parents absolutely paved a way for myself to do that. I would say growing up, I had a curfew. I always had to fast. Like Ramadan, I was always told, sex before marriage is a sin. Um, Drinking is a sin, or doing drugs is a sin. Of course, I've tried things because I'm in Miami and there's a
Mhm.
party on every corner. But you learn to like touch fire and not keep your hand there. You pull back really quickly and you go home. And one thing my cousin always told me was, no matter what you do, just come back home and pray. Doesn't matter if you're drunk. Doesn't matter if you just had a long night of doing things that you regret. Just always come back and pray. And I would say that saved me a lot. It saved me for my passion and career, which is my boxing career at the moment. And it probably saved me from getting into a lot more trouble that I could have gotten into, especially in my younger ages.
Yeah. So I do you think that growing up and doing the fasting, because you don't even drink water during, is it daylight during
Yes,
Ramadan?
they're right.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you think that alone instills a lot of discipline?
Yes, absolutely. I would fast while I grew up playing ice hockey. Not too bad to fast in the ice or on the ice. I grew up playing American football. Now that was very, very, very difficult. And I grew up in a time of playing ball, I'd say 15 years ago, where the concussion protocol wasn't around.
Hmm.
You get rattled, whether you're dehydrated or not, and you better get up because that's what football is all about showing character, um, how disciplined you are as far as controlling your weaknesses.
Hmm.
And it's a blessing in the sense of I'm still here, I'm healthy. It really did fortify me and differentiate me from a lot of the people in the crowd. So yes, I think the fasting did help. I believe the fasting helped tremendously. Things like the fasting, things like praying 5 times a day. We have to wake up in the morning to pray. So in high school, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be one of the kids training at 5 a.m. I'd go for a run before school, or I'd show up at the weight room in high school and lift before school. And that instilled a lot from a young age. It helped a lot with my professional boxing career for sure. So when it was time for me to devote my life to pro boxing and know that this is what I want to do, it kind of went hand in hand because it was instilled in me from a very young age. Um, and the same goes how I met you in Vegas. I think Vegas, you tell people I'm going to move to Vegas, I'm going to go pursue my career there. I grew up in Miami, Florida, where I had a house party on every corner.
Hmm.
My friends had drugs in their pocket. We got bottles in their cars. Fun was plenty. We have beautiful women, which is a like delicacy for men. Whereas when I went to Vegas, it was, oh, this is not new to me. This is
Hmm.
less. I have to drive to the strip 30 minutes to do this. Oh, whereas in Miami, I can like walk to my boy's house and there's like 50 people there jumping off the balcony and into the pool and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah. So did you notice a difference in the discipline around all the other people growing up, or the
Yes.
lack thereof?
Yeah. I had my best friend passed away from like drugs.
Hmm.
Yeah. I had homies that got arrested for robbing liquor stores. I've done my share of not so good things, but I definitely, if I got burned hard, and which I did, I got burned hard once, and I was like, never again did I make the same mistake.
Hmm.
It's it's just you fall victim to the crowd. You really are influenced, and your life really is trajected by the people you surround yourself with. And I thankfully learned that at an early age. Unfortunately, you begin to single yourself out and isolate yourself,
Yep.
which is also not good for humans because we are social beings.
Totally agree. So where I'm from, we have a huge Mormon population, but a lot of
Which
people would joke that it was the Mormon kids who partied the hardest. And it was the Mormon kids who you would see go off the rails and like leave the Mormon church.
yeah,
Now, granted, I knew tons of Mormons who were just clean cut, never at the party. So it was a running joke because a small handful of rotten apples, spoiled the basket. But do you think the way, I guess, that your father raised you, or maybe how your parents were, influenced you in staying true to the values that they were trying to instill in you? Because like me growing up, my dad was a believer, but he didn't ever say pray. He didn't ever say like, we're going to church. He never took us to church. But I had respect for the guy to where I was not going to lie to him. And two, I didn't want to find out what was going to happen if I ever did get in trouble. Not necessarily out of fear, but because he told me, get away with as much as you can in life, but don't ever lie to me. And I don't want to have to be picking you up from jail. So those are just like two things. It was like his respect was the most important. So when I was growing up, I never drank. I never tried the drugs. I'd be at high school parties. Yeah, I was still putting myself in that environment that we're getting busted. Everyone's getting, you're blown into the thing. And I'm being a smart ass going, just get me started first so I can get out of here. I've done this before. And the cops are like, yeah, I bet you have. And then I'm just blowing zeros because I never drank. Even in college, I did not drink it when I was underage. So do you think that there was an aspect because of who your parents were and the way they raised you that you were able to stay true to those kind of feelings and values?
Absolutely. We never had a drink at home. So growing up, I never had alcohol around. Culturally speaking, drinking is forbidden in most Islamic tradition and culture. So culturally speaking, I grew up also, my friends would drink. I barely, bro, I've tried it because you have to try, I guess, or I wanted to try because I'm an explorer, but I've never been a drinker. I don't drink until now. People that know me offer me drinks all the time. You don't drink? It's like, I can, but I don't really want to. I never will want to. I'm not really interested in it. My biggest savior of constant righteous support and following the straight line has been my mother. Absolutely.
Okay.
It's always been my mom, telling me right from wrong, telling me that God is always watching, that you have to be a good person because good things come back. And it's not necessarily in the judgment of good and bad. I don't know who is good and bad. It doesn't mean you're a bad person if you drink. It's just what's good for you is good for you. What burns you, what will burn you. So if you do something wrong for you, you don't necessarily burn in hell, but you definitely burn in hell on earth. Like, when you do mistakes, it feels like you're burning, sometimes physically and sometimes emotionally and sometimes mentally and spiritually, I think is number one, because you don't want to ever darken that spirit, that light that God gave us, or you want to call it the universe. But whoever created this universe definitely gave us a light, and it's completely measurable. And I just try to hold on to that light as much as possible. That is, I believe, my biggest blessing.
Oh no, I agree, man. I mean, I feel that the Holy Spirit freaking works wonders in me, and it tells me, dude, don't even glance that way. But one of the things I think you pointed out is your family was leading by example and not through just words. So again, I think I'm an American through and through, but I think culturally we've gotten to the point of do as I say, not as I do. And it sounds like your family's a prime example of like, no, we're leading through example because your dad wasn't throwing back freaking Bud Lights every night and telling you not to drink. It didn't cause you to go, well, fucking dad does it, so I'm going to go have some beers with my buddies. And then I'm sure your mom just really honing in on like being a good person, praying. I'm sure your mom wasn't just always gossiping about all the other moms in town.
My mom barely had any friends. I mean, she has a ton of, everyone loves my mom in the boxing community. Everyone knows my mom that know me from the boxing community, and they absolutely love her. My mom's never drank. She's never touched a drink in her life. She's never smoked a cigarette. I don't. My mom's never been with any other man except for my dad. They're not together, and she'll never be with another man ever
Hmm.
again. So, yeah, like I look up to her in that sense of like, wow, she's a pure lady. I
Yeah.
better also have a pure image coming home to her and to my sister. That way, my sister chooses a man of character, and
Yep.
my mom can always admire her son being a man of character. That's so important to me. That's my life purpose. I mean, one of them, yeah, like it's to sh- let my shine outshine on the world. Like better yourself, you'll completely better the world, especially with the people that you love around you, your wife, your kids, your mother, your sister, your brother, whoever, your father, whoever they are.
I totally agree. I mean, I have a saying that, we should not give a fuck what anyone thinks about us because they're not going to accomplish our dreams, our goals, they're not going to pay for our mansion unless that thing that we're doing impacts our family name. And so I think you're nailing it on the head when you're like, I want to make a good impression for my mom, for my sister, especially sisters. I have sisters, and young women are so impressionable here, especially in Miami, let alone the United States with Instagram, etc. And I feel like we have a culture of men who are going around and not knowing how to treat young women. I feel we have a culture of a bunch of young men who are a bunch of pussies, but then on the same note, they just want to be fuckboys and sleep with as many women as they can, but they don't want to take responsibility for anything, and they want to use he him pronouns when it's like we can tell you're a fucking dude. Not not to get too political, but
No, you're absolutely. I have a motto that
yeah,
I tell everyone that I know, men and women, it's always the man's fault. It's always the
totally agree.
man's fault. If she cheats on you, it's your fault. If your kids are not doing well in school or in life, or
Hmm.
it's your fault. If it's unfortunately, oh, if there's corruption in the world, it's always a man's fault. Uh,
Yep.
you can say, Beyonce says, who runs the world, girls? In a song, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who runs the world is men, and it has been men for the past 65,000 years as we know it, probably since the dawn of
Yes.
civilizations that we don't even
Yeah.
know. Um, so
And
yes, it's always the man's fault, even on purpose. They might want corruption on purpose, and it is the man's fault. Not a They might know better than me why it's their fault, but it is their fault.
oh yeah, I made there's a video on my Instagram and my TikTok that says the man, you are the problem. Every problem that your wife has is because of you, but you also have the ability to solve every problem. So it's
Absolutely.
all on you, bud. And I was hoping that video was going to get more love, and it didn't. And I think
It's
it triggers men though who did see it. Like, what do you mean? It's not my fault. She's fucking pissed at the kids or the house is dirty. It's like, yeah, it is, dude.
it
It
is,
really is.
and the truth hurts. That's the
Hmm.
problem with the world today. You say the truth, everyone's mad at you. You become a bad person to society. It's like, dude, I'm saying the righteous truth. I'm not saying like like a truth of gossip or a truth of nothing to benefit you. It's the truth to benefit you. It's the truth to make you a better man or a better
Hmm.
woman, even. You know,
Yeah, you're not out here preaching false gospels.
of
Yeah.
course, it's basics.
Hmm. No, I totally agree. Um, so let's talk about uh relationships now that we're kind of talking about this because back 2018 when we first met, you're a good looking dude, professional fighter, stays in shape, and you were mentioning how you weren't just trying to sleep around. You really liked one woman. And I think at the time you told me, it's like, I do want to be married and have a family. Am I correct on that?
Yes, absolutely, I do.
Okay. So let's go to the 2024 version of Ahmed and see where you're at. What's new?
Oh, and it's not easy in Miami, but it's my fault.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just right now, I emotionally or relationship wise, I try to give myself the time of giving people chances, and I
Hmm.
also try to give myself the time of being successful to choose the right partner because it is, I believe, when you reach a certain age and you've done certain things before marriage, you can no longer hope of this high school singular, like one for one relationship of for both of you lose your virginity to each other. And of course that doesn't always last, but most likely it does. I would advise my children, or my children, God willing, if I have been blessed with any, um, that you should definitely save yourself for marriage, and
Totally agree.
hopefully that significant other is doing the same, and it will, nothing is certain, but it will help the certainty of reaching the pinnacle of life of a relationship, a monogamous relationship with one person, instead of dealing with so many spirits and souls and DNA and exchanges of bodily fluids and emotions and regrets and hurts and heartbreaks, both the man receiving and the woman, because you don't learn that it's always the man's fault. When I was eight, I didn't learn that when I was 18. I've had phases where I'm like, oh, this girl's a bitch and this and that, and it's like, she's not a bitch. She's just protecting herself because she's instinctually, she's more instinctual than men. She lives off of instincts. She is emotional, yes, but she lives, sometimes women will break up with a man, they'll be like, I don't know why. He's a really good guy. He looks good. He's perfect. He's it. I just don't know why I'm doing it. It's like, it's because there's something about him that's weak. That's not
Yeah.
enough.
She doesn't feel secure.
She doesn't feel
Yeah.
secure. She
She
doesn't.
doesn't
So
feel
it,
safe.
and thankfully, uh, I can go and say that has happened to me, and that's what taught me everything. It's like, yeah, you say it like, yeah, I'm, I look good, or whatever. I don't know, but we'll say I look good. I'm a
You're all
boxer.
right.
I'm decent. Exactly. Uh, but it's like, it's not what women necessarily want in men. It's not
True.
looks. It's not, so for like guys, anyone watching this, it's not your looks. It's not your money. It's not your height. It's not, it's your character. Of course, they want to be treated
Hmm.
like women and they want to feel feminine, but it's also your drive. Women need something to go after. They need constant chase after somebody chasing something. That way it falls in together. And especially in the initial stages, then eventually you can meet at a point, and therefore you have your triangle. Um, Man looks at children, children look at mommy, mommy looks at man, and the triangle is connected or closed.
Hmm.
Versus man only chasing money, mommy chasing man, kids chasing mommy. Like,
Yeah.
no one's
Then
looking
it's,
at the kids ever, you know.
yeah,
And
no closed
that's
loop.
when there's
Yeah.
no closed loop, and then the kids just grow up without a, without a father figure, even if he's in the picture, without a mother,
Hmm.
even if she's in the picture. And it's, that's where you have successful families, but with no success in it.
Yeah.
And I think, I believe, I know that giving women a masculine energy, as far as like, have your own drive, be driven, give them a purpose, have a purpose. That's the biggest thing, I think, for a man, is to try to find a purpose. Whether your purpose is working 9 to 5 and giving it your all, good. Have a purpose, and be calm, be patient. Don't be hysterical. They found that the loudest men in the room aren't usually the men with testosterone,
Yeah.
with the highest amounts. It's usually the quietest men in the room that have the highest levels of testosterone. Um, so yeah, that's my take on that.
I mean, I think it's a great take. I agree on so many different levels, all the levels. Um, gosh, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of this stuff that we could just keep talking about for a while because we are on the same page. And it's why I was thinking, I was like, man, I got to get Ahmed on the podcast. Hopefully he hasn't, you know, changed, changed for the better versus the worst. Oh, I've gone on the deep end. I'm not a world champion yet. So I'm just hanging out on the streets of Miami.
I'm a world champion, bro. I just don't have a belt to hold my pants up.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, exactly. So with all that being said, what you're not, do you think you're not married because you're not whole, you're still seeking something, or are you waiting until there's a perfect person? Because I don't know what the Quran says, but I know the Bible says that there's no such thing as a soulmate. There isn't. There's not. It doesn't talk anything about that. The one person who you married, the soulmate. I think that is, I guess, culturally made up, like the soulmate thing. If you were to ask my wife if she was my soulmate, or I was hers, I bet you she would probably tell you that we weren't each other's soulmates. But I love that fucking woman more than I actually ever thought I could love somebody.
I think that is the perfect way to start a relationship, is to think that you're not each other's soulmates.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you time to truly, truly examine this person for you. It helps you. First, you're examining all the cons you don't like about this person.
Mm-hmm.
But you stay around for a more important reason. Maybe that's where your subconscious becomes ignited of that reason that you don't see yet. And we live instinctually, of course, women more than men, but men are logical creatures where we're thinking logically, but we also live very instinctually. And when you give things time to grow, how you describe your relationship with your wife, that's when I am certain things blossom into great families, just how great nations have blossomed. They don't happen overnight. They don't happen. Of course, there's marriages that got married in a month or 6 months. Yes, of course. It's not about when you get married. I know Islamic marriages that happen right away, but they stay together forever because maybe there's the power dynamic of man and woman is adequate. It is how it should be, versus a lot of this modern day Western society is a little lost in the dynamics of a relationship. I don't believe romance is a real thing. Romance was created in the French Renaissance in order for men. Most men weren't getting women because only the high noblemen were getting women. So they created something called romance.
Yeah.
I believe true romance is unconditional love, which forms after a while. It's not about riding on your horse and giving her flowers. I think that turns women off. That's not what women really want. Women truly want a man with purpose, with a backbone, with a man she can follow, a man with a village, a man that has fire and food, that can teach her things, that puts her in her feminine, that makes her feel innocent no matter how experienced she is in life, no matter what she's done with men. She goes back to this man and she's like, I feel like I'm a baby again with you. And that's what women are.
Yeah.
Women are 50 years old, but they still act like they're 12. Like, they're like, where are we going on vacation? What kind of car are we going to get? What are we eating tonight? That's what God made them to be. And that's why we love them, because they remind us of our mothers. They give us a part of life we don't get to experience. As a man, we don't get, patted on the back and say, like, that's all we get. Well, you'll be all right, son. But no one,
Yep.
You crying your heart out, sick, broke, no purpose in life. And it's like, well, you just got to chase it, bro. You got to keep going. Like, no one's going to feel bad for you. No one's going to take take you over and pick your life up for you. No, it's like you got to do it on your own, son. So why am I personally in that? I'm one finding my I'm trying to become more of a better person for the person that I want to be with,
Yeah.
because it is all on me. And God willing, I believe once I become that person, uh, it's a magnet. They are drawn to you, and that's all I can do for now, is just
Yeah.
better myself and allow the right person to be drawn towards me. Of course, am I attracted to numerous women? Hell yeah, bro. I'm looking at a dude. But I just try to keep my mouth shut, stay calm, and focus on my career. I've put so much time into my career that
Yeah.
I'd be a fool to like, and I have done that already so many times. So I'm like, how many times do I got to learn? I only have one life that I know of, so I'm gonna give it my all as far as that part. I don't want an ego, but if for me to succeed in boxing, I have to use my ego righteously.
Yeah.
So that's all
No,
I can do right now.
yeah, you got to be able to dig into that dark place inside of you in order to keep you being resilient and moving forward to achieve that goal.
Yes.
Um, so I have a cousin who he is 15 years younger than me, D1 baseball player. He won't mind that I'm talking about him. And he actually has asked me a number of times, because he's deep into his faith, like staying abstinent for a period of years before he got married. And then even him and her, when they were high school sweethearts, but then broke up for a number of years and then started dating, but stayed abstinent until they got married. Just quick about him. He's asked me a number of times of how it is that you separate being a man of faith and be able to tap into that dark side to perform on the field. And I've explained to him how I think, but I would definitely like to get your perspective, because you're also going to battle in your sport. You're
Mm.
not swinging a stick and ball. You are inflicting pain onto another man, which is actually my favorite sport ever. So,
It's the most honest sport. I would say, of course, being celibate and abstinent in a sport like boxing, it helps. It's one of the few. I mean, is it nice to be relaxed and stuff? Yeah, but when you're relaxed, your purpose of my idea is this: I don't think having sex weakens your legs. It doesn't do anything physical to you. We have a sole purpose on this in this life to procreate as men, to spread our seed into every garden we can. When you hold back that seed, your spirit, your purpose in life kind of gets like, what are you doing to me? Then you can transfer that purpose into a ego. Then you're transferring that purpose into your not soul, not spirit of righteousness, because to have children and procreate is truly righteous, especially
mhm.
when done with the right person. But if you're just going to go and spread your seed for no reason and not spread your seed at all by, let's say the word pulling out, you're just wasting true divine life. And that's not just energy. Like, men carry gender of human beings. We carry male and
Yep.
female sperms,
Yep. There's only two.
cells. Yeah, yes, we carry that. So that is life on its own. So when you hold that back, you can definitely now reflect that purpose onto getting a Lamborghini, uh, obtaining a world championship, getting a private jet, opening up a company, all the things that matter in the physical realm.
Hmm.
Now, it does depends how religious you are, but even for non-religious purposes, businessmen that do that, when they hold their seed back, they're very driven into their businesses. They have no other purpose except to make money. So that's how I have learned to do this in boxing. I understand that there's a difference of, physical sex. And when you hold back, you're now driving that purpose into whatever you choose to make that purpose be.
Yeah. So I kind of want to maybe put those two things together. Let the purpose and the seed with being single and still trying to go after a world championship. How often do you think that, or not how often, what is the possibility of getting a relationship, then winning a world championship, or winning a world championship and then getting into that relationship? Because I often have met pro athletes, they, in the middle of their career, they are dating, have a kid,
Yeah.
then get married, then their career goes down the drain. Now, I've always said that that's an excuse because, well, when they use that as an excuse, the fighter is using the kids, this as an excuse of why they didn't make it to the pinnacle. I'm assuming you would say the same, that is an excuse because at the end of the day, us as men, all our decisions are on us. So what do you think is the difference between the guy who makes it and the guy who doesn't while starting in the family on the journey?
I think the guy that makes it is.
And does it make him even any lesser of a father? Let's even add that on.
I no believe, unless you were married before the start or during the start of early in your career, maybe if you're a college athlete turning pro, unless it worked out that way for you. If you try to do this in the middle of your career, I'm trying to get to this charger, my bad. If you try to do this in the middle of your career, it will absolutely backfire because
Mm-hmm.
you have to also be very careful with the woman you're dealing with. And most likely, men that try to get married in the middle of their careers or start a family, that means that they're in a rush. So they're not being patient already. They're not a bad
Mm-hmm.
thing, but they're in a rush to create. They're like, I got to do it now. So that will backfire in the most subtle ways. So unless you're, I don't even think there's an unless, because most likely the woman will also not be exactly on the same page as you. So I think it would be. It sucks to say this because I can be that type of guy. I'm the type of guy that wants to get married right now. I'm the type of guy that wants to have kids right now, and I
Mm-hmm.
wish that, but it doesn't necessarily. I don't think it will benefit me. I would love to see my kids watching me become a world champion, and my wife be there, and see her in the stands, just like what you see on TV on HBO, like
Yeah.
HBO or Showtime. But sometimes what's meant for others isn't meant for you or that
Yeah.
specific person. So I think staying on your purpose, because we live in a different world nowadays. Our purpose isn't our. They've stopped. How do you say? 200 years ago, 300 years ago, it's just literally have a child. Like, go get married, have a kid. Nowadays, it's like, how much money you got? Can you afford to live here? What kind of car do you drive? Unfortunately, I want to be a monk. Like, I want to live in the Himalayas or in the middle of the desert in Vegas and live off the land, but that doesn't exist anymore. So we have to adjust and adapt to the modern day world. And for you to adjust and adapt to the modern day world, you have to fulfill your purpose or have a steady job or whatever, and then you'll be in a patient mode to choose wisely the woman that you want, or the woman that you want, because that's what you should do. And then from there you can establish a family, because you're in a patient mindset. You're not absolutely obsessed with this woman because you think she's gonna leave you, or because you think she's the only one, or it's like you want her to be the one. It's like, no, like, It's okay. Things take time. I have to get to know you. I want you to get to know me. Um, you have to, nowadays, women have jobs. Nowadays, women have professional careers. You have to let her do what she wants as far as that as well. Go chase your passion. You have a passion just like me. She'll eventually come back because she'll be like, well, I'm realizing this is just a job. I want to have kids. That's
Yeah.
why it's always the man's fault. Like if you just let them and give them some space, not turn your back as in like walk away, but go do your thing. Go fulfill your purpose. Women will always come back and to you because they understand at the end of the day their purpose is to procreate. It's
Yeah.
like it's not. I think we could get a little more egotistical than women, but their true purpose is to procreate.
Mhm.
More, just like us, but they're women are a little more. They always come back, dude. Especially when they see like there's a manly figure involved that's decisive, that knows what he wants. They just come back. Just give them their time.
No, I agree. I think the society has really been pushing women into having those jobs, and like you're saying, you can let them go, and then they'll realize, you know, I should be at the home just with the kids.
I mean, I told my mom this yesterday. I'm like, why do you think society does push women to have a job? Because in reality, you give the man the same job. Okay, most men are unambitious and this and this and that, but the only man that could win over the boss's job is a man. The only
Hmm.
person in the field of engineering, military, accounting, business, the only threat is another man. You could always, you keep letting this woman climb up the ladder. She becomes a vice president. That's it. Like, you can always just keep her working. Women are very loyal when it comes to money. They're hardworking. But they also have that ceiling where they jump, and it's like, oh, it makes it seem like they can become I don't, I mean, fuck, dude, I don't want to get backlash for this, but I think women are too hormonal to become presidents. Even when they're in menopause, they're still hormonal because now they're in menopause. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, and
I don't,
then
there's so
there's
much.
that risk that if they do have children, now
Dude,
I have to retrain someone to take this CEO position.
that, and I don't, they rarely get to that CEO position because most CEOs won't let that happen. It's also
Hmm.
much more fun for a man to work around women. Like, I wish my boxing coach, and as far as like if it wasn't boxing like a brutal sport, like yeah, I wish my team was filled with beautiful women, just like Floyd's was. But that's not because it's no one's gonna surpass me.
Hmm.
If I'm talking at a corporate level, boxing is not like that. But yeah, like the corporate level, it's yeah, you're working around beautiful women in the office, like they're walking around in their skirts and dresses. Shit, that's perfect. Versus like, oh, you got to deal with Joe trying to take over your job.
Yeah, because with men, there is that climbing the ladder. You
Of
never know
course,
when he's going to ambush you to climb that ladder.
there's always the better looking dude. There's always the smarter dude. There's always the taller dude. There's always the
Hmm.
dude that comes from a good family that has it all. He was a military. He's tall. He's good looking. He's educated. It's like, well, dude, like this guy's gonna take my $1 million job. So there's no way they're gonna not. They want women to infiltrate the corporate industry and the Fortune 500. Of course they do. It's to their benefit because the top guy is a man.
Yeah, it's his safety net that no one's going to come climbing the ladder, knocking on his
Yeah.
door to.
And most likely this one guy is sleeping with all of them. like what is it like? The ratio is it's one man to three women in major cities. Like
Oh, I don't know.
most women are sleeping with the same men without knowing because
Hmm.
it's in their hypergamous nature to chase that man, but in reality, every woman's chasing that man.
Yeah,
So then he's not committing to her because he's worked so hard in life that he's like, well, why am I going to commit to her? Like, she's already done this with everybody, and I'm just going to keep hooking up with her. So the cycle just keeps going on and on. Like, he doesn't trust them. They're only looking for a guy like that. And then by the time they know it, they're 35 and 36. And you do the math, it's like, okay, I'm 30 now. If I can get married next year, that's a year. Then I got to have a kid in another year. I'm 32. But most likely, if I try to have a kid at 36, 37, it's probably not healthy for, it's like, if you do the math and it's like, time's running out, baby. Because you got to date for a couple months. You got to get married for a year. You got to buy a house for a year. You got to.
But,
So
and
men
also
always
men,
win. Men
men
always
have
win.
that choice of not dating her. They can date
Yeah,
someone who's
of course,
young,
dude. Until
who's
they're like
much
50.
younger.
I know
Yeah.
great looking guys at 55 and they're 25-year-olds. They look
You know,
good. And to them, it's like, I'm not weird, bro. This is how life's always been.
yeah, not that I'm promoting this. It's just the reality that the women who get stuck in this chasing a career mindset, it often backfires. And then there's no woman on history who on her deathbed said, I wish I would have pushed some more papers.
No. I think most
You
of them
know?
think I wish I would have had a child that could love me unconditionally. Because that's truly a woman's, I think unconditional love is what you get from a child to a woman
Yep.
and specifically. Like
Yep.
your kids love their mother like crazy.
Oh,
You're
dude.
and they love you like crazy, but they love their mother like crazy on a level that
Dude,
you
there's me,
understand.
and then there's
Exactly.
mom, you know, and the dog's just like right below me.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. No, and you pay the bills and this and this and this, but that's just how we are programmed. Like, mama's number one.
Oh, dude. And I got two
Number
sons.
two,
Yep.
mama, exactly. Especially if you have boys. Mama's number one, number two, number three. And it's like, dude, if there's a fourth place, you're there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so funny because they'll be saying stuff and he'll be like, Mom, I just love you. And I'm literally fucking sitting right there. And it's like, look, my chopped liver, you know, and it's like I don't even get acknowledged some of the times, but it's how it should be. And we'll talk about we'll get on parenting now because I have this theory that, you know, the children need to be with the mom. Don't be working. Men, you need to be in a position to allow your wife to stay home. If she can't stay
Yes.
home, that's on you. If you want the fucking boat, get rid of the fucking boat because it's an impact that your wife makes on your kids. It's far greater than her working so you can have a boat. But having the mother in the house, and then when they're a certain age, 7, 8, then that's when she's going to have to release them to dad. And then that's when dad starts chiseling away and making them and creating men, young men.
Wow.
And
Yes.
it's moms, they have a hard time with that because they want to baby them till they're 15, you know, packing them their lunch, doing too many things. My boys, my 7-year-old, dude, he can fucking make every one of his own meals like an actual omelet for him and his brother. But we started doing that when he was 3. You know, it's like
That's
you got to
awesome.
learn to crack the eggs. You got to learn to put the banana
so
in
cute.
here. You can put these in the blender and make banana pancakes. Here's how you do the stove, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Our other boy's almost 3, and he's not at the same point as the other one because the other one wants to do it for him. And it's like, bud, we love that you like to help him, but it's actually worse for him that you're helping him. You know how to do all these things because we didn't help you. We told you how to do it. And
Teach
we were
him.
like, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Because he wants to do it for him. But it's like we coddle our kids too much. I mean, at a young age, I think kids should just be all about mom with mom. Like my wife, she co-sleeps. Dude, I'm sleeping in my own bed right now because those boys will just be in mom's bed. Not both of them, but the one younger one. And I just sleep like a ninja. Like one of them could fart and I'm just awake. So I got my own bed right now. We did that with the first one, and then he got his own bed, and then I got to go back to in the bed with mom.
Dude, I
But
think that
then,
is the best type of relationship.
dude, it is. And then it's like
Like
right
most
now,
people think, I think most people would think it's crazy that you're not
oh,
sleeping with. Yeah, but that's how relationships last.
dude,
You have plenty of time to sleep together.
Yeah, so much, but she gets that connection with her and baby from baby to even still he's about to turn 3. You know, he's there for her. He loves me right now a lot. He always wants to know where dad is. But I think the mom is so vital, and it's sad when moms want to just drop their kids off at a daycare.
Mm,
Like especially when they're super young infant. It's like that kid is going through abandonment. We might not think that, and moms will say, "Oh, they're okay," and it's like, well, that's because you were abandoned too by your mom at a daycare as an infant at only 2 months old,
yeah,
and those issues are going to be follow you somewhere else later in life. But I mean, for some reason, the culture in America is just like, you have a kid, ship them off to a daycare, have some stranger holding your baby or sitting your baby in a thing all day, and you're back at the office. And parents, their lives end up being at work. Their kids are being programmed by fucking other people at school for most of their life. And usually they might be good people, but they're not people who are trying to be a high achiever. They're not people who have your child's best interest.
mm,
They have whatever their interest is,
yes,
you know? I mean, I see kids in 3rd grade learning about LGBTQ. When I was in fucking 5th grade, in 6th grade, I called other kids gay, but I just thought that just meant you weren't cool. I didn't know what it actually meant. And now in 3rd grade, I have a niece who is learning that in 3rd fucking grade.
yeah,
Why? They should just be running around talking about freaking play stuff and, you know, dodgeball or swinging. They shouldn't be worried about which letter they are.
mm.
And it's like they need to be at home with mom. Um, yeah,
Absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. I know that we're given every right to do what we want, and
true.
that's
Yeah,
completely fine. But we also have the right to raise our kids the way that we want, and that's where it becomes unfair. Especially the education system in a country like America is a great education system, even in its worst areas. It's they don't teach math that well, but it's a good system compared to
hmm,
a lot of other poverty poor countries.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but they shouldn't be involving how what to those are very intimate issues or
yeah,
topics, very intimate topics. So I think humans are free to do what they want, but don't affect the children of others. And yeah, um, parenting is what you said is very true. Men are very important to their children at a later age. Women are there to nurse them in these earlier ages, and women look for a man for that purpose as well. Women look for a man ideally because she's looking at the man in her child's sense of like, wow, I could learn from him. I can do this. Subconsciously, she's thinking this for her offspring as well. It's like, oh, I'm learning from him. They could learn from him. We can all learn from him. We can
hmm,
all follow his trajectory in life. Let's do this. We are on your ship, Captain. All aboard, and you build the ship. They're on the ship. You got your crew. That's how it should be.
yeah. I mean, if in my opinion, if a wife is often butting in on how you're parenting, it's she's either being triggered because you're parenting like her father and it was a negative thing, or she doesn't trust who you are as a provider and she wants to butt in. Now, let's just say that's not the case and she's butting in. The father needs to have a conversation with her of, hey, if you love me who I am as a man, then you need to trust how I am going to be raising and or disciplining our children. And because if we're having mothers intervening with how fathers are interacting with their children, it's only going to split the children and the father further away until she's like, how come you're not paying attention to Johnny? How come you're not doing this? And it's like, oh, you mean because the last 6 years of his life, you have been the wedge in between us?
Yes,
And they don't realize that.
but then I would say it goes back to Johnny. What did Johnny do What did Johnny not do? Did Johnny give her attention? Did Johnny show her that he's a real man? Was Johnny loyal to her? Did Johnny provide for her? Did Johnny allow her to trust him? Those are all the questions Johnny should answer.
I agree, because there is that point where he needs to step in and have that conversation of, do you trust who I am as a man? Then you need to be able to let me
Yeah.
do X, Y, Z. I
But
totally agree.
if he keeps on going, like, and be like, she doesn't trust you, it's so cool, like, she could raise the kids. All right, buddy, you just lost your kids.
Dude, you did. And when they're older, they're not going to want nothing to do with you.
Dude, absolutely not.
They're not going to be any resemblance of you. And they're probably end up going to be those shithead kids who no one wants their kids to hang out with.
Yeah. Unless Johnny was a piece of shit.
No, unless he was. But if he's just a mediocre father, he's just in the house, kind of a beta dude, let mom kind of run over him.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible. Oh, my God.
That's kind of what I'm talking about, where he's just not even willing to have that discussion with his wife to say, no. You can't keep interrupting when I'm trying to discipline him.
I'm going to use an example. Johnny could be, yes, there's the beta Johnny. There's the drunk Johnny.
Yeah.
There is the, what is that? Well, cheater Johnny. What is that called? Cheater. There's a proper word. There's
adulterer.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
The Johnny that goes and sleeps with
adultery.
everybody. There's the gangsta Johnny. I think it's crazy how a beta Johnny equals an unloyal Johnny, how a beta Johnny equals a drunk Johnny, because at the end of the day, it goes back to the same thing. However, I've met people. I have a friend, good friend of mine. He didn't have a mother to look up to or a father, and I would say he is so righteous, a professional, owns his own business. And I ask him, I'm like, dude, John, his name is, let's call him Johnny.
Okay.
I say, how did you do it, dude? How did you do this? And he told me, he said, I just knew what I didn't want.
Yep.
I knew what I absolutely didn't want. And I ran away from that. And we ran towards something he did want. So,
and they're the exception.
There are exceptions. Yes, they are. There are definitely exceptions. However, you're absolutely right. When two parents can be coherent and form a unity, that's when it all. That's divine.
Oh yeah, when two parents are yoked, then it's so impactful and beneficial for the kids, and then it only makes it more beneficial to society and culture.
Oh, of course, we make the world a better place.
Yeah. No, it is.
Everybody make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Be good to thy neighbor. Read the Old Testament. Keep it simple, stupid.
So boxing, what's up with your career right now?
Right now, I am ranked in the top 3 out of the 4 organizations. I am with the greatest promoter to ever live, Don King.
Okay.
And I'm very fortunate. Of course, I'd like to be more active. That way I can hone in on my skills. But I believe everyone has their purpose in life. And I'm just following my trajectory the best way that I can and doing my part. I'm getting better. I'm working hard. I have a great team around me to keep my head on right, emotionally, physically, my body, and technically in the ring, and spiritually outside of the ring as well. I'm thankful for my family and my country that gave birth to me, and this beautiful country of the United States of America that has done everything for me. And I can only wish I can repay it back in the smallest way possible, because I will never be able to repay it in the way that it's given me my hopes and dreams.
Hmm.
Right now, in the more depth boxing sense, I am hopefully will be fighting in the late April, early May, and
Ooh.
it's to defend these two continental titles that I have, NABA and ABF, both with the WBA and the WBC, and we're hoping at a eliminator by the end of the year, or God willing, a title fight, top title opportunity for any one of those 3 or 4 titles, even the WBO. I'd be, I'd forgive them and take it with open hands. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Is there any idea of opponents or not yet?
We're looking at a guy named Sergio Jimenez from Mexico, undefeated guy, 14-0, and for now though, like nothing is confirmed. I've gotten a couple names, and I'm ready for
Whoever.
yeah, I'm gonna say I'm ready for whoever, and I'm very fortunate for whoever, because in all reality, we're just men trying to make a career out of ourselves and lives and make some money. So whoever does step into the path, great for you, brother. Thank you for taking this. I wish you the best. I hope you're working hard, and I come in to do my job and get the job done, and knock heads out into the stands. Say catch.
I remember one fight I want to see is you versus Anthony. What is it, Yarde?
I would love that.
Because I remember in 2018, you told me you're like, that was back when he was undefeated, and
dude,
you were like, I want to fight that guy.
I've been on a shit talking spree on Instagram, and I get no attention for it. I'm going on, and I mean it. Like, I go on Eddie Hearn's page. I'm like, I'll fight all your bums and all of this. And I mean it.
Uh-huh.
And it's not to a degrading sense. It's like, come on, he has guys from Africa and this and that. And there's another guy from Africa that I'm like, dude, but it's all money, and I respect it. I respect them for taking care of their careers, and I respect myself for trying the best that I can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this game is filled with egos, bro. Like, that dude Jack is an amazing person, amazing fighter, and because I called him out, he got really butthurt, and he unfriended me, and I'm a bad Muslim, bad guy for calling him out. It's like, nah, bro, just a fucking dude trying to become a world champion.
Yeah.
Dude, I think you should feel proud. I'm calling out the best. I wouldn't call you out. I wouldn't talk shit about you if I was better than you. I'm not gonna talk shit about some guy that I'm better than. I'm gonna talk shit about someone that I want to be like.
Yeah.
I'm fucking human.
Yeah.
I want to fight Benavidez. I want to fight. I'm not gonna call out people. I'll fight whoever.
Yeah.
I don't want to call people because it's so degrading. I feel like I'm so special. So I'm like, whatever, but I think in all reality, I have my purpose in life. I'm a med. I'm only competing with a med. And for me, my biggest competition is the person that I was yesterday. And I just want to be better than yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So
hell yeah.
That's where I am today.
Well, hey,
Canelo, you want to talk about Canelo?
Sure. Let's talk about
backlash. Dude, 6 months ago, I say some shit about Canelo. Everyone's saying look at this. They call me a fucking shit. Who is he to talk shit? No, everyone's talking shit about Canelo because he won't fight Benavidez.
What did you say?
I said that he got tired. I said that he just didn't have the drive and hunger anymore. It's the truth. The truth hurts, though. You can't say the truth to this world now. You get put on blast, and you're a bad guy. Okay, you're right. I am a bad. I'm in a shitty sport. I better be a bad guy. It's all I'm created to do. All I train to do is hurt someone. Hell yeah, I'm a bad guy. Sports filled with weirdos and gangsters and pedophiles and weird fucking people, dog. So like, yeah, for me talking shit about someone that's my hero that I don't see anymore as like the top dog, yeah. But a lot of guys in this sport are like that. They're all very egotistical and get butthurt for anything. So
Do you think he beats Benavidez?
I think he has a huge chance of winning, of course, because he's one of the best
Yeah,
fighters that ever lived. That's why it's
yeah,
like he's an amazing fighter. Amazing. I'm gonna say amazing fighter. I don't really know anything about his personal life. I think he's kind of insecure, but he's an amazing fighter. Like so, and I think Benavidez is an amazing fighter. And so, what if we lose? This whole like losing thing in boxing has been so shitty. I think if you get hurt in the ring is a different story. Protect your health. But if you
yeah.
lose, so what? Like Glenn Johnson had like I think like 10 losses or I don't know, want to say 15 before he became world champion.
What, he beat Antonio Tarver?
Knocked out Roy Jones.
Oh, Roy
Beat
Jones,
Antonio,
that was it. Yeah,
beat Antonio Tarver the same year.
yeah.
Fighter of the year. Freddie
Orlando
Downs.
Salido.
Orlando Salido. Bro, there's been so many.
He had like 12 losses when he won his title.
Roberto Duran. Joe Louis got knocked out in his hometown. Joe Louis got knocked out in his hometown by a white German back in the day.
Damn.
But nowadays, like,
No, I hate the no loss thing. Like, that drives me bonkers. Like, as far as Canelo goes, I think he beats Benavidez. And then it's that thing of like, where everyone was like, this is the guy. And I want to see him rematch Bivol, though. It's like, just do it. Just fight him again. Because I always thought that Canelo got tired.
yeah.
And then I felt his conditioning looked his best his last fight.
I'm gonna go on camera and say I beat his ass in sparring. Like I never said that because I'm trying to respect the guy. But yeah, most of the sparring, like beginning of the sparring sessions, I would whoop the fucking ass. So they'd only put me in there for, dude, sometimes like after 3 rounds, they're like, get out. And it's like, what the fuck is this? So it's just, they got to put their egos aside and just like entertain. We're just here to entertain, enjoy. But no, it's this sport is also super corrupt because they could pay these guys very well. Like say, give a guy $100,000 a fight or even 70, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give him 3 fights a year. This dude's looking at $200,000 a year, like normal corporate job. They won't do that because the promoter's too busy skimping everybody and then paying the main event.
Yeah, it is way just backloaded. All the money is just backloaded. I want to see more stacked like cards.
Too expensive.
I mean, no, it's just because of the economics that they've allowed the sport to go into. Because you can't say it was too expensive to have Terrence Crawford fight Spence and on Canelo versus whoever.
Too expensive.
But it's only too expensive because we've allowed just Floyd to make $50 million a fight, just Canelo to make $50 million a fight. Or I remember Cotto at one point, he had a guarantee of like $15 million a fight. But what if you only made 12? What if you only made X? Then you could stack these cards more.
I think that could have happened 10 years ago. Not anymore. There's no more TV, so they're not paying anymore. Whereas now, it backfired. It literally is too expensive now. Like, remember, lights cost money, production team, rings.
Oh yeah, dude, I know all about
judges, referees, even the tickets, like selling tickets, costs money. Advertisement, promos. Like,
so you gotta think about.
on.
So one of the thing about TV though, which you probably are aware of this. Did you know that there used to be a 50-50 cut with pay-per-view and the distributor? And then when they had Floyd and Manny, they negotiated for like 20-80 cut, and then with Floyd and McGregor, they negotiated the cut because they weren't going to give up 50% of that to the distribution company. So if you had a platform, someone like DAZN, if they're the only platform who's distributing it, then you have a much larger pot to play with.
Yes,
But
I think what's going to
their
take over is
economics,
Fight TV is going to probably do better than DAZN in the near future because they're buying all the fights. They even buy DAZN's fights. So it doesn't allow you. You don't need a subscription. Whereas like DAZN, you need the subscription and you need to buy the fights. And it's
and you
like
need to buy the fights.
why would I do that?
So,
Watch darts. Like who's gonna watch darts?
but with Fight TV, they were bought out by Triller or Thriller,
Yes.
whatever it's called. But Thriller was, so I had a friend who was at HBO, and they were in on the finances that was going on with them, and they said that they were going at the time they were going bankrupt, and then they bought them. They bought a piece of BKFC. I don't know what their finances are. Maybe they've been using the revenue to.
Oh, Triller's broke.
Yeah, that Triller was broke. And then they might be using the revenue from BKFC because they've been growing and Fight TV to offset those losses. I don't know though. I'm not in. That was just someone who I value their opinion.
Yeah, like there's like speculations.
Yeah, definitely speculation, but yeah. No,
it's all weird right now with this Amazon Prime. And it's all weird right now. It'll come out soon though. The numbers will come out soon. People are nosy.
Yeah, I'm curious of, what's going to happen with ESPN in a couple of years. And
yeah, that sucks too. No,
yeah,
that would be very sad to see, like, no more boxing on ESPN. Even if it's just only Top Rank, that's fine with me. But it would be sad to see.
See, I told the old, it doesn't matter who, but there was some executive at Top Rank who I was like, you guys should focus on your own streaming platform. And they were streaming on the Top Rank app all of their undercards for a long time that anyone could just go watch for free. But then they did away with that app. And they were using the same technology that ESPN is using because they were using what's called MLB, Advanced Media.
Mm-hmm.
Major League Baseball, they were one of the first people to stream stuff. The PGA Tour started to stream on them. And then Disney bought a stake in it. They bought a stake from the MLB, and then they bought the whole thing. But I was always telling them, you should do your own streaming service and keep pumping that. Kind of how the UFC has UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah.
And they just stopped doing it. And then if one day ESPN's like, we don't have any more money for you guys, it's like, well, then what the fuck do you do?
Yeah. It's all going to be like streaming or Amazon or Paramount or they're doing all this now, which is, I mean, it could be good too because now you're seeing your true customers. You're seeing who's actually reaching out for the remote buying the fight. So
yeah, and I'm curious of what's going to happen with Netflix and Tyson and Jake Paul.
Patiently waiting, bro.
Are you waiting for the call for you to fight Jake Paul?
Oh no.
Oh, are you waiting for the fight?
I'd knock him down with a sneeze. He's like, oh shit, he went down.
So really quick, what do you think of the whole journey that Jake Paul has taken? As short as you could do. See, I think the same. I'm like, I think it's great because you're talking about a kid who was a multimillionaire and then decided to fucking fight people.
Yeah, good.
It's like nobody does that. Nobody does that.
Yeah, I think his opportunities are very. He had a huge window to succeed in this. Why not take it? Like, why not take that opportunity to do well in something that you believe you can, and it's something that you could prove to people, like you could do whatever you want. It's good. Like he had the platform to do it. He's a Disney star, and of course, like the fighters get upset because a lot of us put time and effort into it, but these are fighters that also come from in neighborhoods that aren't so good, so they don't see the two sides of life where life's not fair. and you got to deal with it and find another way to make it fair for you. It's just how it is. You could put in time and be the best fighter and never get noticed. You could be a shitty
That's
fighter.
true.
You could be a shitty fighter and get a world title fight. It's just
Yep.
life's not fair, and you have to learn how to like accept it and say, thank God I have my health and my life, and I'm going to do something else. That's already a blessing.
No, I agree. And we can end it at that.
Oh yeah.